Hi there. Welcome to the third and the final installment of my talk on psychosocial response to emergencies and disasters, focusing on the recent pandemic and how to find the new normal, coping with the new normal. When we talk about normality, we're talking about a curve, right? Like the normal distribution. Who is normal? Sometimes normality can be dictated by what the majority are feeling, are thinking, and are experiencing. When you talk about normal IQ, you talk about 90 to 110 IQ. That's where everyone fall in the middle. Lower than that, you're not so normal. You go down as low, below average, very low, slow learner part, like idiot, imbecile. And when you go a little bit higher than say 110, you become high, average, above average, very high, exceptional IQ. You become more genius. Those both ends of the tail ends of the distribution are not considered normal. And what is normal is the one or are the ones who cluster in the middle. And prior to March, our normal was different. We were conducting our lives in different ways. In the normal way, in the usual way. We go to a normal school, literally and figuratively, a regular school like PNU. We also go to a normal workplace with normal relationships and normal day-to-day lives. We go to our churches and we have normal relationships. Then the pandemic struck, and the natural dynamics is, as what you've learned in the first two sessions, that it shatters everything. We feel confused, helpless, hopeless, out of control. We deny, we get angry, we bargain, we get a little bit depressed. So from this normal, something, boom, happens. It's a big, huge, unexpected pandemic happens and the world stops. And this shatters everything. Everything goes down. Depression, anger, anxiety, confusion, all these negative things that are normal as far as us who are normal going through something abnormal. And we go down. If you don't get help, you disappear from the screen and you're forgotten. But this is the stage when people go down, that we need to go through the process of healing and going through the process of grieving and remembering our losses. Remember, we need to mourn and go through the losses. But we don't stay there too long. We need help, and we go back and re-emerge. This is the old normal. We re-emerge higher, and what happens is we develop the stability. Old normal, new normal. Look at the difference. Old, new. This is where we say we can transcend, or we have transcended the harrowing effects of the pandemic. As what I said, we are not yet out of the woods. We are still here in the woods, so we are still going through it. The new normal is actually a goal, a future goal. Something that we want to achieve, what we are actually moving towards it. I said some people are hit hard, go down right away. Some people are more resilient, it takes them slower. But what's important is when we go down and feel bad and we feel confused and out of control, we get help, someone pull us up, and we help ourselves, and we go back to the normal self. But remember, the old and the new are never the same. Just like letting go of an old relationship and going through the DABDA according to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross model, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, we go back to our own self, we regain control, but we're never, ever the same. So when we look back and say, that was my old self, new normal, but I cannot strive for this anymore, will cause depression, remember? This one is the one I want to embrace. This new normal, which is much higher, much transcendent, much better. So today I'm excited because We are now trying to spread the grace. We now know and understand ourselves. We know the 7 criteria of trauma resolution by Harvey, and now we help ourselves by doing psychosocial processing. That's part of the lecture. These are practical questions that we can do for ourselves, for our family, to our friends, with our immediate community. And this is the type of session I want to do with you, the one I was talking about in the second session. That if you want to go through this, we can do this individually, or not individually, but as a group of maybe 7 people, 10 people. So pwede nga kung 40 kita, I can do maybe 3 or 4 groups of 8 people, or 5 sessions with probably 7 or 8 people joining each session. Perfect, di ba? Next week, we can start Monday to Friday, 8 times 5, 40, or something like that. If you just want to go through it. So after these 3 sessions are finished by Friday, you can let me know. You have to let me know, because as part of my role as guidance counselor is for me to put in also hours of psychological work with you. And what better way to practice it than for us to go through the psychosocial processing and then learn the skill of asking the right question and listening, and then probably replicate the same experience in your neighborhood, in your own family. Okay, so again, sit back, relax, listen to my presentation, and I hope that this is the part where you feel more empowered, more skilled in handling anything that comes your way. Hello, this is the part which we talk about the psychosocial interventions. I'll be discussing with you quick guidelines to psychosocial processing, which is just a smaller part of a bigger psychological first aid model or spectrum. And while we cannot do all the work in psychosocial work, because others have to do the job, like nurses have to do their jobs, treating those who are sick, and doctors as well. And then the government has to bring in the necessary logistics, food, clothing, shelter, whatever that people need, or even medicine. And others have to do their own jobs. This is the part where people who are trained on mental health can do. Okay? So the psychosocial interventions at different phases of the disaster include listening patiently in an accepting and non-judgmental manner, very important skill in doing psychosocial work or psychosocial processing, is we don't judge. When a person says, for example, I feel hopeless, I feel scared, you don't just tell him, para nag-ubol na gina, ulbaan ka. We cannot underestimate and minimize people's experience. That accepting, non-judgmental manner, we call it the unconditional positive regard, according to Carl Rogers, is the start of a therapeutic process. Conveying genuine compassion, as shown by your own demeanor, that you are consistent with what you feel and what you do for the client. Identifying basic practical needs and ensuring that these are met. Part of our goal also to help is to identify what are the people's needs at the moment. Not just counseling, I'm sure. It's not just counseling or maybe a diffusion of their emotions and feelings and thoughts, but also some bodily needs. Like when you see someone is very pale, or maybe kakurog kay he or she looks gutom, you don't go through the sessions that way. You can ask the person, maybe you can eat first, or you can rest first, or maybe you can refer you to a doctor first to take medication para katulog ka, so that next time you can participate in the sessions, right? Because there's no way that the person can benefit from a session that's face-to-face when he or she has more important and more pressing bodily needs. Encouraging participation in normal daily activities if possible, and use of positive means of coping. I think I've mentioned this in my previous discussion, that we need to resume our regular functions. Because when you say disorder in a psychological perspective is when a person loses his regular functions and routine. He cannot function at work, at home, he cannot perform his roles and function as a member of the family, as a member of the workplace or of the community. because he just probably stays holed in somewhere, and that's not very healthy. And as appropriate, offering the possibility to return to further support, or referring to locally available support mechanisms, because you can also spot those who need more help than the usual or than what we can offer. Remember, psychological first aid and psychosocial processing is just probably a short-term intervention. The long-term intervention happens after the pandemic is over, because many people will have long-lasting symptoms of the trauma, so they need more follow-up in the future. And these help and forms of intervention, maybe the PF aiders or the first aiders cannot give. Maybe it's should be given by another agency. We continue all activities during the acute phase, especially critical incident stress management for those identified to have dysfunctional psychosocial problems. So ang mga persons nga naga-show symptoms like mahambal sila be during the processing that I'm thinking about suicide, hurting myself or other people, amo nang i-pull out nyo for more intervention. Because if the person starts thinking suicide or homicide, it can be dangerous. It can be destructive or dangerous to the self and to other people. Capacity building and training of local manpower, trained psychosocial caregivers undertake and sustain psychosocial intervention program necessary for recovery, which is long-term. So this is what we do, if we have the skills already in processing and talking and asking the right questions, then we can further help others. Then, kay makapoy man, if we do all the work, we can also do ongoing training to the community. So we can spread the goodwill to the DepEd, to the teachers. I know Dr. Johnny De Catoria is one of the consultants of the city, and he is my colleague in LaSalle, and we have worked closely with these types of training. So we can actually connect with Dr. De Catoria through DSWD, the government of Cadiz, and God knows where the influence will stop, because we can always connect it also with our network in Bacolod, in Region 6, and in the whole Philippines. So you can be part, for example, of an on-call group of responders later on when the situation becomes, new normal, and we can now travel maybe better and physically help people. We can just be deployed anywhere else and say, may kinanglan to sa Tiglawigan 3 or 4 responders to process their teachers or the community, or dito sa Sagay or somewhere else, And we can even go out of the campus and probably our own inter-school, the PNU system campuses. If our help is needed somewhere, then we can be deployed. That can be the future goal. So psychosocial interventions inform and educate and community leaders that the psychosocial recovery program is vital to the overall recovery of survivors and rehabilitation of communities. Well, that's the trajectory of these efforts. Now we don't keep it to ourselves. We help others. Organize psychoeducational programs to clarify normal psychological distress and psychopathology. Now you can tell others through that session that it's not their fault, that the symptoms are normal and they are not alone. Encourage discussions and application of existing ways of coping, and emphasize expectations of natural recovery for the majority of the people. Okay, and then development of socio-economic program as an important component of psychosocial rehabilitation after disaster. Yes, there are some forms of income or employment that may not be viable at the moment. Example, maybe spas, hotels, restaurants, high-end resorts. I heard Lakawan is at risk also because no one will go there anymore. And I'm sure they have spent billions, or not really billions, maybe a lot of millions, improving the place. So what happens to their workers? What happens to the staff there, and this can cause distress to them, and they are part of our city. So we can look at the more socioeconomic components, which probably not our own domain. So this is where maybe some government agencies, NGOs can help. refocus them in terms of finding better ways to cope financially. Development of self-help groups in vulnerable communities to activate a home-based disaster management response anytime. I remember I did not say this in the second session, but Cadiz was hardest hit by Yolanda, and I'm sure you did not have a group of people to respond. So it is our goal to be that group, to spearhead the creation of that group. So what is psychosocial processing? It's a method of facilitating ventilation of emotions attached to traumatic experiences, including the opportunity to tell their story, see it from a different, more positive point of view, and it's an analysis of priority needs and plan strategies to address these. So see, unlike the usual model they used before, like the CISD, which was critical incident stress debriefing, which is now being discouraged because research shows that they are not as effective. But the psychosocial processing in this new model helps people to retell and share their stories, but also in the process help them with their present needs and plan strategies to address these needs at the moment and help them in the future. To foster resilience and healthy long-term coping strategies, which we can teach them to facilitate the resumption of a normal life, because the sooner we can go back to our normal life, the better. Hindi gid man very healthy ang ACQ, na puro lang tanan pungko or watch TV. No, it's not healthy. We need to go back to the routine. But of course, with a lot of caution, a lot of, care, because we could be exposed to the virus. To provide an opportunity for affected people to participate in their recovery, that people are empowered, that it's not just help coming from the outside, it's also a lot of help coming from within them, that they have within them the power to help themselves and to prevent pathological consequences of potentially traumatic situations, like what I mentioned, the post-traumatic stress disorder or the PTSD. Because remember Harvey's criteria, if you then develop those 7 markers, you might be experiencing PTSD. So what is a quick guide to psychosocial processing? This is it. A quick guide is you need to prepare first, or you need to have a secure place, a quiet place, and 8 to 10 people. Lower than 8, that might be less dynamics happening. Higher than 10, that can be too many people, too crowded. So probably an 8 to 10 people maximum might be a good number. Paper and pen for the facilitator, because you will be the facilitator. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to go through this with me, maybe next week or so. It depends on our schedule, but maybe 1 hour. I can do that for an hour and a half per session with you in groups of 8 people. And then we start with coming together, being in a safe place, seating them in a particular place where everybody feels that nobody can disturb them. Probably you can also have some important things around you, like water for people who might need to drink, some snacks available if people are hungry, can actually stop in the middle and take a break. And then tissue paper, very important. Why tissue paper is important? It's an symbolic message for them to tell them that it's okay to feel a little bit emotional, and if in case someone cries or shows some emotion, they have some tissue paper around. But since I'm suggesting a virtual session, then we cannot do the physical thing, like just bring your tissue paper beside you when we have the session. So respect, we emphasize confidentiality. You tell them that there is safety in this session, that there is confidentiality, no one will get to know this, unless there is a caveat there, no? Unless what you share will be detrimental to you or to others, like when they are suicidal or they plan to hurt others, then you by law, even if you're not a guidance counselor, you're just a facilitator there with no license, you are by law you are required by law to report. That's your Tarasoft principle. That when someone expresses the tendency to hurt themselves or others or both in an otherwise confidential session, you can break quote unquote the confidentiality and tell the necessary persons, the authorities or the family, because you need to save the person from himself or herself. And you can also save other people from being hurt. You can talk about respect for others. You can tell them everyone will be given the chance to talk one by one. You can use respectful language, and we can also respect people's feelings, because feelings are not wrong. There are no foul language, no behavior injurious to another. We will not allow people berating others for saying certain things. Anyone can leave at any time. You can say, if you don't feel as comfortable sharing in the middle or at any parts you feel like you don't want to participate, you just tell me that, you can just stop or leave the group, because that's just all right. And there is no forcing of the retelling part. No, it's purely voluntary. Those who are ready and willing to just stay there and participate and listen will be okay. It will be good to encourage them to participate. But those who want to retell may retell. Then the next part will be questions. These are must-ask questions. Okay nang lang, hindi siya i-memorize. Or you have a set of questions ready on the side. So it's nice that you have these questions written, for example, on an index card, or a notebook where you can glance at it. It's okay nga gatanaw ka sa imong notes. Actually, you can tell the group nga pwede ko magsulat or mag-take down notes, may papel ko din nga dala, because part of the session also is for you to identify their names. You get to know them better before you can ask these questions. Maybe you can have one round of, tell me something about yourself, why you're here, what's your work, who are you, etc. Para makilala mo sila. Presuming that the participants are people you don't know. Okay, remember, we cannot presume nga we don't know that we know them. Like kung i-deploy ito to be sa San Carlos or sa Sagay or Escalante. So we have a session getting to know, and I'm breaking the ice. But these are questions you can ask slowly, surely, but very importantly, no? So, pwede nga i-translate mo na nga daan in Filipino or Hiligaynon or in Cebuano in that sense, no? Because like, for example, for me, going to San Carlos, I don't know Cebuano very well. So, it's important also na if there is luxury of partnership, my facilitator be like me who doesn't speak Cebuano, and someone who speaks and understands Cebuano can be there to help translate for me. So, ang best way to do this is each person will have to answer one question at a time. So, pwede round robin. For example, kabe, number 1 question, we'll have to answer this one first. So, we say, this is the question. I'll read aloud. Maari bang ikwento o ilahad ang inyong naranasan sa nakaraang kalamidad? Or you can say, pwede mo maistorya sa akon ang any significant lang na natabo sa imo sa calamity na gusto mo i-share sa amon. So you wait for them to talk about it, just listening to them. Of course, kailangan conscious matas ang time, no? Hindi man talk forever. So probably part also of, by the way, mabacktrack ko a little, part also of your preparing them and setting goals and objectives during the session is for you to set the parameters nga. Well, we are given 1 hour and a half, probably 2 hours to do this. So we cannot naman hug the conversation nga. We have to be conscious also of the time. So ara sa imo man as a facilitator how to direct him or her kung nag-overspeak na siya, no? So pagkatapos bisang sharing makabalata. Okay, salamat person number 1 for your sharing. Salamat kid, no? We move on to person number 2. So, he answers or she answers the same question. Mari bang ikwento o ilahad ang inyong karanasan sa nakaraang kalamidad? Of course, mas nami gid kon hiligaynon, no? Pwede mo maistorya sa amon ang imo na eksperyensyahan sa sa natabo nga calamity or sa natabo nga pandemic. Then after natapos na sila tanan, kag may ibanda iya nga YB naghambal or hindi ready, hindi lang gid pagpiliton. Okay? Just let them be. Kay later on, ma-feel mo na nga ready naman sila kung ma-sense nila. Remember, we need to establish safety. And when people are not yet feeling safe, they will just feel the waters, mamati-mati lang. But later on, when people start making patad or, start investing themselves, mapatad naman lang na ang kapamati. Okay? So, question number 2. Paano naapektuhan ang isipan at damdamin? Remember, ang mga bilog-bilog ng buhay. One of the aspects there is our thoughts and feelings. Very, very important na. No? So, you can even use the bilog-bilog ng buhay to be able to process the experience. Kaya di ba may ito, thoughts and feelings, pakikipagkapwa, your relationship with God, etc. Atong apat bala ka circles nami na nga may dala ka man sina sa imo nga notebook. Aside from these questions, may bilog-bilog ka. Kaya pwede mo to gamito ng each bilog nga ipamangkuton mo how okay are they in those 4 areas of functioning. Kaya kung may isa lang dayan kay area nga hindi siya okay, then that's hallmark of or maybe a red flag for processing. No? Pwede nyo na i-refer sa akon nga, sir, ang iniba lang a person na hindi siya katulog physically, hindi pag siya gyapon ka-recover sa natabo, kag may flashback pa, may nightmare siya, hindi siya katulog. So, that is something you cannot do or remedy, no? So, maybe I can do the help. Pwede na i-refer sa akon nga, sir, ma-one-on-one session kaguro later on kay counselor ta or someone because you need further help. Because amo na no, be on the lookout nga may mga participants ka mo nga okay and then go through it like a regular participant. May harang ito participants nga maguot-guot sa trauma, it can also make them feel like they need more help. So hindi mo da saya pag i-process with a group kay basi hindi siya ready. So ambalon mo lang siya very tactfully later on, di mo paghihambal nga while everybody's listening. Hambalo mo lang, sige, it's okay kung di ka pa ready, hindi ka pa katulog, that part ng maybe we will have that intervention on a more personal and one-on-one way because I think you need more time for that. Kay tapuson taniya ang iya sa grupo. Later on, see me because I'll refer you to another person. That should be me na or maybe some other person. May ara ta psychologist nga registered, by the way, in Cadiz, go work sa DSWD student ko man before, no? So she is a registered psychologist. So she can also be tapped to help us in the processing of these cases. Pwede ka ka-ask third question. Ano mga problemang naidulot ng bagyong ito? Sometimes the answer can be physical needs like nagutman ko. So hindi ka maghambal nga counseling ang need niya. 'Di ba? So makahambal ta, sige, ang mga nagutman or why mga rice or why mga tulugan or for some reason labulong, i-refer ta ni karon sa DSWD, Department of Health, etc. That's why it's interagency ang aton nga response, hindi niya nga aton lang. We cannot promise, by the way, something we cannot give them, ha. Don't tell them, sige, adapon ta ka sa balay ko kay way kapag kaon. You cannot do that. Because once you promise, you need to keep. Hindi pwede nga i-adapon mo siya kay basi ikaw naman na ma-traumatize kay why ka man ipakaon, no? So we cannot make promises we can't keep. We can always be more creative and more open in terms of our intervention. We can tell them we will help by facilitating maybe with the barangay kay damo to rice, with the DOH or Department of Health, the local barangay health unit, whatever government agency, NGO, kay dito ka mo makuha sa inyo yakalanon na kita ma-process lang. Remember, this is our job. So ano ang mga problemang hinaharap ngayon tungkol sa kaligtasan at kalagayang pangkalahatan na kailangang kaagad mabigyang pansin? In other words, what are your immediate needs now? Remember, ang unahon ta, ang pinaka-basic for survival, food, clothing, shelter. If food, clothing, shelter, lain na siya yung makabulig. Now, kung maibulig ka man, you can always say, sige, we can talk about it later on. Base sa mind mo, may hatag ito siya nga kunop or pagkaon or bed sheet or whatever nga makahelp sa iya. But do not offer it like do ikaw ang ma-provide, because the others would also probably feel nga maayo man sa imo, which hindi mo na yung role. Ang role mo ya is to process. So these are 4 questions, correct? But there are other questions na follow-up that you can make. No, pwede man nga i-share yan at tanan sa paghambal mo pa lang. Maari mo bang ikwento ay lahat blah 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 blah? Ay hambal na tanan ng mga feelings na apektuhan na siya, anong naidulot sa kanya ng bagyo or pandemyang ito, ano na ang mga needs niya. Pwede nga na ihambal tanan. Don't tell him as, hoy hipos ha, ang una tablang nga question, ang karanasan lang. You cannot say that. You can just tell them, okay, sige lang. Anyway, you can always tell them, nahambal mo naman gito kay na because nagwa na lang. Hindi ka man mag-expect nga isa lang cancer ang ilay sabat. Can be all at once. So it's in the skill of the facilitator to also listen and patinan mo. You check kung ano nang sabat ng questions kag ano pang wala. After this, these are things pa nga pwede mo ma-answer or ma-ask. In the interest of time, you need to be make sure nga hindi maging too long basi madrag na sila or basi may iba na sila nga mga needs, naging keep mo sila from doing those things like kinahanglan na sila gali magluto or manglaba or mag-provide sa ila family, no? So, pwede mo ni makat actually in 2 sessions, hindi magid nga ubuson siya sa 1. Ano ang mga pangunahing problema sa lugar ninyo na dapat mabigyang pansin kaagad ng kinaukulan? Well, sometimes the government doesn't know this. It's also a way to get information nga ay nabuka gali ang dam sa kilid or nabuka tong road sa pihak or ay may nabalay gali nga nasunog nga way kamo kabalo, no? So people can do the bayanihan. But in this case of the pandemic, makambal tab lang we can also check with our government or with our barangay. We can make probably help each other in one street to check kung sino nagpinuli ng mga OFW nga why nag-report. Remember, these are the problems now. They just go home. They want to avoid the quarantine, so mag-go home siya sa neighborhood that puts at risk. So maybe kamo ma-develop kamo sa mga monitoring system. 10 houses in the area should magmatsyag-matsyag na kung may magpuli from Manila or outside, i-report for your safety, no? Anong paraan makakilos kaagad para gawa ng paraan ang mga problema ng komunidad ninyo sa inyo ngayon? Remember, you asked in this question. These questions look how the questions are asked. Anong paraan kaagad magawan ng paraan ang mga problema ng komunidad ninyo? So meaning you give them the power to think about what's best for them. You don't ask them anong pwede ko mahimo for you. You don't, because you cannot provide them. You tell them what can you do to help yourselves, because remember, they have the resources. Sometimes they're just confused, helpless, feeling hopeless. Why sila kabalo gali? Ay may ara pa sila resources. Ay may ara ko to gali martilyo. Ay may ara ko to gali medicine. Ay may ano ko to gali may herbs and whatever nga pwede painom sa nagamasakit. Ay may ara ko to gali Vicks or whatever nga pwede ko marab siya. At the end of the day, kung mag-share lang ang tanan, hindi gid man ta kalulupi, no? So saan makakuha ng lakas at mga kinakailangan para may balik ang pag-asang makabangon sa kalamidad na ito? Makuton mo sila, di nagaling strength mo, baw sa bata ko yun, baw sa bana ko yun, sa anak ko, sa akong friend, sa akong pari, minister, counselor, or sa ido ko, diba? Some people, never underestimate the effect or the benefit of having pets at home. For those who live at home, probably their source of meaning or strength is from their pets. So, kailangan makakita sila sa meaning. So, search for that. People find it hard in the process, during the pandemic, to find meaning. Ambot do ay nagid ko pulos. The fact that you can still cook 3 meals a day to your daughter who has special needs, don't you think that is a source of strength? Kung madula ka no matabo sa daughter mo, ay wala ko na ma-realize nga strength ko na gali. So it's a matter of reminding them that there's still something that they can do. Ano ang kahulugan sa inyo ng pangyayaring ito? Remember the one I was talking about the last session, that you need to transcend and find meaning. Mama kabi nga, the meaning is that I realized we can go back to basics and not strive for other things which we thought we need, and otherwise we realize they're all wants. that school can be just a room in the house and not just a physical school like PNU. Amo na isa ka reality nga nag-open sa eyes ko. It's possible to hold school even at home. And school may not be the physical school. So we need to think even our concept of school, ma-threaten kita. Because our kids may not go to school anymore. Diba? But remember, ask them deeper questions like, anong kahulugan sa inyo ng pangyayaring ito? O sabi, ambot away ko kahulugan. Why gid ni, no? But try to encourage them. Ano ni siya ang mga deeper, nga mga na-realize mo na kung mabuhi, malang ko gali sa utan, kag isda, kag mga kararuton, hindi ko kinanglan Jollibee. No, this is not against Jollibee or McDonald's or any fast food, no? But the point here is we can let go of those things. We can actually go on with life without having coffee sa Starbucks or makaon ka to buffet sa Vikings nga kamahal. Pwede ka malanggi kakaon uga, tanggit kag kangkong and buhi ka gyapon. Importante buhi, di ba mo nang moto lately? Why ka so importante buhi? So these are things that we need to ask. Questions that are practical but are life-saving questions. So balikan ko to liwat ha. So amo ni siya ang mga questions nyo. Mga i-flash ko man yan siya sa screen nyo. So makita nyo. Balik-balikan nyo lang. These are 2 slides lang sa mga questions nga pwede nyo mangkuton. Now, again, there are questions that you might also ask that are not part of this. But don't ask embarrassing questions that are too personal, because that might put them, at a defensive mode and they will not share anymore. Try to end it with assuring everyone that they are not alone. Remember that those symptoms are normal given the abnormal situation and that it's not their fault. And then you can end the session like that. Pero may mga notes ka to. Ang mga notes mo, amo to ang mga persons nga i-refer mo. Ang mga notes mo to mga needs nila nga hindi mo yung mahatag, which probably other agencies can give them or provide them. And then maybe you can work for it and coordinate with other agencies and networks so that you can also be helped and they can also be helped. So stress reduction, you can also ask them, ano ang coping mechanisms mo nga nag-work in the past? Sila be, jogging, hindi na ako ka-jog, so maybe sa balay na lang may exercise. Sa una, nagapanahor ko, nagabulang ko, nagakasino ko, hindi mo na mahimo. Mamadyong ka na lang sa balay, nga wala taya, kamo na lang da sa balay. No, mga mama na. So, nagainom ko, nagapanigarilyo, balamuti, does that help you? Kasi smoking can help you more anxious or drinking can make you more depressed. I-explain yun sa ila ang effects ng alcohol sa body. That's why importante that you also have a theoretical knowledge of the effects of these chemicals on the body. Kaya kadugang stress mo kung sige ka da inom kape or kadugang depressed mo kung sige ka inom alcohol because alcohol is a depressant. Ask help from doctors in case symptoms persist. Amo ni siyang aton pagid help, no? Finding out, spotting symptoms of the ones we need to refer. Ang kinahanglan na i-refer ang mga show signs of distress, hindi katulog for the longest time, thinking about suicide, hurting themselves and others, naga-cut, no? Naga-self-destruct, kapilas-pilas ng lawas, inom alcohol, drugs. Amo ni ang mga symptoms nga daw balantayan takay. They need further help. Hindi tanan ni kaya as facilitators of the quick psychosocial processing. No? Then ask them also plans of personal plans, family plans, and community plans. Very important planning, no? So like may hapo ka, so what do you do if you need to go to school or to work na? Plano ko, mamaskid, masuksukid ko, ng sang akon protective gear, gloves pa ko, and then hindi ko magsakay sa public utility, maybe ma-bike na lang ko to school, or if you have a car, then drive to school, no? Familial support, anong himo niya sa family if in case ma-lockdown liwat, o sino in charge sa amo ni, sino ang manindahan, di ba? The one probably who is has the strongest immune system should be the one going out. No, what are we going to do if these things happen again? It's not just the COVID but other pandemics. How do we help, for example, ourselves? Ang balay ta, paano tani i-structure nga mas safe siya kay nang naguba na siya sa bagyo, mga mo na. No? So these are plans. So people can also feel more secure. Kay if you have plans, you feel more secure and for more and more confident to face whatever the calamity, strikes. And of course, community planning, very important niyan, community planning, which I guess the government is trying to do. Good thing gani aton governor is very proactive, no? Community planning can help us prevent the pandemic. Anong himuon sa mga nagapinuli na OFW, anong himuon sa mga family members, for example, nga nagpuli na from abroad, nga kamo mismo, kamo gid ang ma-monitor, nga hindi gid magwa anay sa kwarto. Di ba, ma-quarantine anay sa balay, o stay anay in one room, etc. Hindi anay maglagaw-lagaw sa beach, hindi anay mag-party. What can the community do if, for example, may baha, bagyo? Is there a place where you can all go? Kung hindi niya be COVID, be baha niya, seaside ka mo or coastal, din ka mo makadto once a community or calamity hits, when earthquake hits, whatever, no? So these are things that you can do. Where do you go? What can you do? How do you improve food production? Ay next time sa pandemic, matanong-tanong na ko kalapad sang akon backyard, nakatiwangwang. Maybe I can start planting food. Vegetables that are easy to grow. So hindi ko magutman. Mga muna, no? Everyone should know plans to keep safe. So everyone in the family should know may example, next time masunugan kita din tamakadto. Diba? One of the things that will help save lives is for you to prevent others from going back to a burning house for other family members nga nakagwa na gali. Diba? So part of the plan is like this. Kung may masunugid man, guwa ta sa exit plan ta nga kung din ta nag-exit, kagkadto ta di under this tree. Diri ta tanan sa tree nga ini, tanan kabalo. So that when one person is missing, isa lang pangitaon mo, like ang lola mo nasud nabilin pa sa sulod, way pa to sa dalom tree, siya to balikan mo. Hindi nga nang you're all over the place, they're all over the place, kapangitaay ka mo, nagbinalik ka mo sa balay, nga way nagali unod, kundi risky, no, mga muna. Ask suggestions. Makuton mo sila. Remember, don't just give the information as if you know everything, because you empower them. How to stay healthy and strong. Makuton mo sila. How do you stay healthy and strong during the pandemic? I'll eat vegetables na lang. Hindi na ako mag-hotdog, hindi na ako mag-tocino, hindi na ako mag-spam, no? Kay ubos na ang spam sa barter, no? Diba? But eat healthy food like fish, vegetables. It can boost the immune system, exercise, etc. By the way, encourage people to exercise because it also helps them psychologically when the chemicals are flowing in their bodies. How do they keep strong? How to restore sense of order and routine. So the sooner you can go back to family prayer, family gaming, family routine, you eat breakfast, lunch, and the dinner together, go back to your regular school sessions, although albeit lang siya, virtual, routine na siya. Nami gid may routine ta, hindi pwede nga isa lang. How to be informed during crisis and disaster. So, pwede ka mo kahimo Facebook page, pwede ka mo kahimo CADIS, Psychosocial Quick Response Group, pwede tanan mahimo, nga dira tanan ma-report, sang tanan nga mga emergencies and disaster. We can use the technology, etc. And the social media, which is very powerful in delivering information, no? So kinahanglan may amutan na nga mga plans para hindi ta mag-feel hapless, hopeless, and helpless during the pandemic or any problem. Okay? So as an ending to this, we emphasize this quote: believe that each person has the capacity of self-healing. No? Very important. That each person in his own dynamics, whether it's fast, average, or slow, we all have these capacity, and once provided a safe environment which healing can occur. Diba? So again, I'd like to reiterate, believe that each person has the capacity of self-healing once provided a safe environment with which healing can occur. So we need each other. Now, as what I said earlier, we cannot heal alone. It's almost impossible to claim Yeah, I'm proud I've healed alone. It's important to know that others can help heal. So we all grow. Like, look at the background of the last slide. It's a beautiful waterfalls with green ferns, foliage, flowers, and it's teeming with life. That's the hope we want to give to people. Know that we have the capacity to heal. Actually, the pandemic has helped heal the world because everyone stopped, factories stopped, cars stopped, everything stopped, industries stopped, a lot of consumerism stopped. People stopped going to the beaches and the mountain and they stopped destroying everything. And we realize that the earth can just move on without us. That's the hardest realization there, isn't it? That even if we all die, everyone is annihilated, nature will just continue to flourish. We need the earth, but the earth doesn't need us. So once we realize that we are just stewards of this beautiful earth that we call our home, but that which we only borrowed from our future generation, we realize that we need to take care of it. So that's the beauty of the pandemic, because just like the characters in Chinese about a disaster, there are two characters. One side says it's a disaster, it's something negative, but another character says it's also an opportunity for change for the better. So we can renew ourselves given that safe environment with which healing can occur. And healing happens every day. And we start now. Thank you very much. That ends my 3-day lecture. These are 3 parts of a series this week. I hope that in my own small way I was able to share with you some of my expertise. Doing psychosocial work, like counseling, is skills-based. It's like learning to ride a bike or drive. It takes practice, and the more you do it, the more confidence you develop along the way. It is my hope and my confidence and my prayer that maybe just 3 or 5 of you can take on the challenge and join me in this activity, or in the future, in this outreach, because this is my advocacy to spread the skills to our area. So whenever another calamity happens, God forbid, it's not that something will happen soon, but I am certain there are more calamities and natural or man-made things that can happen anytime. We don't want to get caught off guard, or like we don't feel like the rug is pulled under our feet and we just lose our center. We still feel empowered and in control. So on behalf of the Guidance Center, or the Guidance Office of Philippine Normal University of Visayas, I'd like to thank you all for your participation, your attention, your interest in this 3-part lecture series. I hope that you feel more empowered, less helpless and hapless, and turned off the victim mode, and you turn on the survivor mode, because that's what we are. We are all born survivors because God loves us. He is with us and in us, and He knows that whatever happens, we can count on Him. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Virtual kisses and hugs to everyone. Bye.